Welcome back to the video. King of Note 771 here, and for this video we're going to talk about the 13 Pro Max, and we're going to put it up head to head against 15 Pro Max to see if it's worth the upgrade coming from a 13 Pro Max up to a 15 Pro Max iPhone. First thing that we want to do as we look at these two devices is that we want to see how much they weigh. In my opinion, the 15 Pro Max is significantly lighter in the hand when in comparison to the 13 Pro Max, but let's put it on a scale and see how much it actually weighs. So put it on our scale. When we look at the 15 Pro Max rather, it weighs 235 grams, and if we switch it out and we'll put the 13 Pro Max, it weighs 251 grams. Not a huge difference here in terms of weight. Quick maths, that's about 16 grams of a difference. Now, Apple did say it's 10% lighter, but when you feel it in your hands, it does feel significantly lighter if you are more concerned about weight. And I do appreciate the fact that it's lighter, because having the Pro Max models can sometimes be a little bit taxing on your hands. I hold mine using my pinky finger all the time, so sometimes you can feel the weight on your pinky finger, and it's not pleasant to hold for a very long time. When it comes to the camera system itself, both iPhones provide spectacular image. However, the 13 Pro Max comes with a 12 megapixel main sensor, while the 15 Pro Max comes standard with a 48 megapixel sensor, the same sensor that was announced last year in the 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max lineup. What this does when it comes to the camera itself is that it gives you a more spectacular image and more resolution when it comes to taking pictures using the main camera. We have a 48 megapixel main sensor on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. We now have 2 additional focal lengths. So with 0.5, which is a macro focal length, we get 30 millimeter, we get a 24 millimeter, and we also get a crop into the 48 megapixel sensor, which will give you that 48 megapixels, and we also have a 120 megapixel sensor as well, which gives you spectacular images, especially when in low light condition. It comes with the f-stop of f2.8. On the 13 Pro Max, it comes with 3 standard lenses, 30 millimeter, 26 millimeter, and 77 millimeter, both also providing spectacular images, but you can't help but notice the difference in the 15 Pro Max, that the images look a lot better and the low light performance tends to be better as well, because as you can see on the camera, it is a bigger camera bump that is able to take in even more light, so you get a better image quality. If you're using this phone for vacation and for trips, you'll appreciate the fact that the 15 Pro Max can now take more spectacular images and can also cover a larger focal range at true 120 millimeters, that you'll be able to capture some spectacular portraits on those special occasions. One of my favorite features that's new when it comes to the 15 Pro Max versus 13 Pro Max is the dynamic island. For me personally, I love using dynamic island for browsing the web. Even whenever I'm using the maps, it goes right in there into the dynamic island, and you can use the dynamic island to easily get to your location. And I find that it's very important to use, especially when you are ordering stuff from Uber Eats. You can have that information goes into dynamic island, and that really helps me a lot. Yeah. Another important thing when it comes to the 13 Pro Max and the new 15 Pro Max is the nits. While the 13 Pro Maxes and the 14 Pro Maxes may come with 1,000 nits, the 15 Pro Max don't have 2,000 nits, so you get like a really bright, luscious screen, especially when you're using the screen in sunlight. That's a major improvement over over the 13 Pro Max. In terms of resolution, there's only like a slight increase in terms of resolution, but you can definitely see the improvement in terms of light and the amount of images that have been pumped out of the 15 Pro Max, that adds for a more pleasant experience in terms of browsing the web and or watching YouTube. So the A17 chip versus the A15 chip is not really a big of a difference. I would say Apple's A15 chip is already a spectacular chip, but you might see performance increase of up to 20% when it comes to using browsing internet loading apps. And now with the new variable ray tracing hardware that's included with the 15 Pro Maxes, you're able to play AAA games and add more depth and better lighting in terms of playing video games itself. But if you don't play video games on your phone, that may not be something that's important to you, but just to know that your phone is much more faster, it's more efficient in terms of browsing the web and streaming applications, that can be a welcome upgrade for you if you're thinking about upgrading your phone. Another one of my favorite upgrades when it comes to the 15 Pro Max or the 13 Pro Max is the action button. This may not be an important upgrade for a lot of people, and I understand, but for me personally, I use it for my camera, and I find that it makes it a little bit more easier for me to navigate and get to my camera, or I can program it to anything that I want. I really love the fact that my phone has an always-on display, and the always-on display does help a lot when it comes to seeing my notifications, and I can also use my phone at night as a clock to quickly see my notifications, which I find is really helpful. The one thing I must note is that if your battery is low and your phone is in low battery mode, you may not be able to use that always-on display, because your phone will remove all those features that drain the battery, just so you can preserve the battery and last a bit longer. Another important feature for me personally, and that's been added to the new iPhones when it comes to 13 Pro Max and 15 Pro Max, is 4K 60 Pro RAW. Usually with the iPhone, like if you have an iPhone 15 Pro Max, 13 Pro Max, taking a video, you can shoot the HDR ProRes, which gives you a lot more detail, but you're also capped at 30 frames per second when it comes to shooting in ProRes. With the new iPhone 15 Pro Max, you can not only shoot in ProRes, but you can shoot in ProRes log, which means that you can capture even more dynamic details that you can use later on in your footage. Moreover, you can also shoot in 4K 60 in ProRes log. However, you can only shoot on an external device at the moment because it takes up so much data and so much information, but that is an added feature and a welcome feature to the iPhone. It's no tricky business when it comes to using the iPhone 15 Pro Max, because what the iPhone 15 Pro Max also includes is something called action mode. What action mode does is that action mode gives you the ability to take gimbal-like footages with your iPhone 15 Pro Max. There's no need to have a second camera with a gimbal. You can literally see in this video just how well the action button works on the iPhone. It does such a spectacular job at keeping everything in frame and also providing really smooth footage. I am really impressed with Apple and how you're able to use this new feature with software, make a footage seem like you're literally using a gimbal. That is something that has never been seen in any iPhone or any smartphone to date. Another change or difference in terms of the iPhone 15 Pro Max with 13 Pro Max is that the iPhone 15 Pro Max uses a titanium body with an aluminum inside. The body of the phone is titanium, so it makes it a lot more stronger and a lot more durable when it comes to scratching and denting. For the natural titanium, which is the one that I'm rocking with this phone, the ability to scratch will be very limited because it's using a brushed titanium. However, if you get the black version or any other colored version, you might get some scratching over time if you drop the phone or ding it. I do love the fact that the titanium is much lighter, as you mentioned in the beginning of the video, over having something like the stainless steel, which the iPhone 13 Pro Max does come with. The stainless steel, it provides a beautiful finish, but I cannot lie to you, the titanium does provide a more richer feeling experience, plus it's lighter and a lot more durable than the stainless steel. One thing Apple did mention is the fact that the iPhone 15 Pro Max is now easier to repair than the older versions, because now the iPhone 15 Pro Max has a separate body in terms of the glass. Whenever you need to repair the glass, if your phone glass breaks in your iPhone, it's a lot more cheaper to repair it than it is to repair the 13 Pro Max. Usually it costs $500 or $549 to repair the back glass of a 13 Pro Max or a 14 Pro Max, but with the new titanium design iPhone 15 Pro Max, it will only cost you $149 to $169 to repair the back glass. That's a drastic change in terms of the pricing to repair the glass itself. Just note that if you have Apple Care, it'll cost you $29 either model that you have. Let's do a little speaker test when it comes to using these two iPhones. Wow. So when listening to both phones, I noticed that iPhone 15 Pro Max was slightly better than the 13 Pro Max, but it's not really a major difference. If you can listen again. In my opinion, they almost sound the same in terms of volume, but the 15 Pro Max does sound a little bit more clear than the iPhone 13 Pro Max. It's really surprising because I thought that the 13 Pro Max, the 15 Pro Max being upgraded would have been much better, but it sounds like it's a lot more clearer and a lot more hi-fi. You hear a lot more of the bass and the treble and the different sounds coming from the 15 Pro Max, so I really like that. So in terms of the two phones, the iPhone 13 Pro Max, 15 Pro Max, if you have a 13 Pro Max, should you upgrade to the 15 Pro Max, I think it'll have to be dependent on yourself and your budget. The significant changes that I would say that's worth it for me in terms of upgrading to 15 Pro Max is the log. Because now that I have ProLog on my iPhone, whenever I go on vacations, I just bring my iPhone and I can record really great cinematic videos, especially with that new action mode that's added in there as well. The second thing I like about the new iPhone is that 120mm 12 megapixel sensor that gives me superb picture at like a higher focal range. I have 120mm f2.8 stop that can give me some really great pictures when it comes to taking photos when I'm on vacation. Second thing that I almost forgot to mention was USB-C. The new iPhone now comes with USB-C, which means that you now have to upgrade all your ports from the lightning cable to the USB-C. That is a significant upgrade for myself because I have most of my devices I use USB-C. So now that I can have one or two chargers that I can bring with me on vacation that can charge all my devices, my iPhone, my MacBook, my AirPods, and all my batteries for my camera as well. So that's a very important upgrade for me when it comes to deciding. The second thing is the action buttons, and this is a minor upgrade, a minor change but that may add a lot of value for other people as well. The low light performance is significantly better on the new 15 Pro Max versus 13 Pro Max. Those are another additional upgrade as well in terms of change. The lightness, in terms of the phone being even 10% more lighter, is important for me because I use my phone a lot and I use it with my pinky finger resting on the bottom of the phone, which sometimes happen to hurt my hands a little bit. So I do appreciate those small changes. It's really up to you if you think these are significant changes being made to the iPhone for you to upgrade, especially some of the things I've listed in this entire video. I'm KF771. If you have any other questions, drop in the comment section and I will love to respond to your query. Until next time, I'll see you again, and peace for now. Ciao. I'm disappearing. Bye-bye.